Hi, Maria here. Today I'd like to talk about goals, reaching the goals, and I've started talking about different life algorithms, the patterns of thinking. So I've talked about the pattern of falling and getting up. What's your algorithm for how you overcome things, how you deal with your emotions, when do you get productive? Understanding this is really important. And another algorithm I talked about was your personal development, how you learn, how you gather information, how you progress. So today I'd like to talk about reaching goals. So as I've reached quite a few things, I've achieved a lot of things, and I, at some point last year, started wondering, what do I actually do? What's my natural algorithm for reaching the goals? And so this is what I observed. I know people who set goals and who are very methodical, systematically making little steps going towards their goals. However they define their goals, small goals, big goals, those are very important. But then upon thinking deeper about this, I realized that how do you set goals? So my goals align according to some big direction. So earlier in my life, I was really concerned about environment, about saving the world from ecological catastrophe. So that informed my career choice, that informed a lot of what I did in terms of education, striving for more, having more impact, getting graduate degrees, PhD, going to look for postdoc in the sciences, in atmospheric environmental sciences. But then at some point along this line, my bigger meta value, my bigger goal, my purpose in life changed. And so the biggest value, I guess, the biggest purpose for my life was no longer saving the world from environmental catastrophe. It switched to my personal goal, my personal purpose, which I define as to learn to love in a very different sense, in a very broad sense. Learning to love children, people, myself, life. So this very broadly defined in many different variations, the purpose of my life. And so the career choices, the life choices, now decisions started to be made and goals set to align with that big goal. And it's interesting how things just seem interesting when they somehow align with this goal, so with this purpose, the bigger life purpose. And so I also know about myself that I am a starter, I'm not a big finisher. And that is also important for me to know, because knowing this about myself, I can assure that I align enough support in the later stages of a project, because I have no problem starting, I have no problem giving it a push the first couple weeks, couple months, depending on the project. But then I need to secure support that will help me go and that will help me finish what I've started. I know people who are very slow to start, but they're very excited about finishing. I know people who just plug themselves in and don't eat, don't sleep. They need to go from the beginning to the end. They do it at a very steady pace without slowing down. I know that I do slow down, and so to get me through to the finish line, I just have to secure whatever support I think I need. Another thing is, know about how you perceive information, how you think, if you're more detail oriented or you're more strategic. I know people who see the project as a whole, and they can they see them, they project the steps from the very beginning. They know where they want to get, how they want to get there. I know what I want. I know the direction, I know the direction in which I'm going, but I don't see far. I see maybe 2 steps ahead, and as I make the next step, another step gets revealed to me, and so information comes in, and I make the following decisions based on the new information that I get. And so starting here, I will not be able to tell you the whole path to the end, because I don't know all the information and I don't know all the decisions I will need to make to get there. So I know this about myself, and so I learned to adjust to this specialty of myself. And so there is no way I would beat myself up for failing to predict enough time, because I cannot predict how many steps ahead how many steps I need to make to reach that goal. And so because I understand all these things about myself, I can address things, I can approach things strategically, because I fold all these peculiarities into my planning, and that helps me actually reach the goals. Like I know that many applications for whatever grants, for whatever scholarships, for various things, for visas, for you name it, they were submitted like a minute before the deadline, or some very short time before the deadline. But I knew that about myself, that I could estimate the time, more or less, how much time I would need to get this particular 2 or 3 steps done. So my preparation started a long time in advance, and I know that to fill this form I would need about a couple hours. So even when I procrastinated a lot more, I gave myself enough time to now sit and get it done, so that I, even without leaving a lot of margin, which I don't recommend, by the way. I don't do that much anymore. It was my student single years when major forces didn't happen much. But I knowing things about yourself, knowing how you learn, know your natural project management, knowing your natural goal achieving algorithms. It really helps when you need to plan, when you need to dream, when you need to strategize. So how do you learn? How do you achieve goals? Are you a starter? Are you a finisher? How do you define goals? Are you doing a direction, or how do you define goals? It's really interesting to see how different people do it differently. And so it also helps to know that there's all these different ways, so that, as I say, you have to be nice to yourself. You have to be good to yourself, so that knowing things about yourself, and this is only one of possible ways to do things, it really helps to be good to yourself and to use your assets and to do it your way, rather than not do it somebody else's way and suffer about it. So do it your way, learn about how you do it, enjoy it, use it, and prosper with it. See you tomorrow.